Hello everyone, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit in the description box down below. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human, civil, and constitutional right to share under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, to share my expressions, views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and critiques. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government and air my grievances. The First Amendment does not cover lies, lies that amount to defamation, slander, libel, harassment, stalking, cyberstalking, bullying, cyberbullying, threats, or any other verbal crimes.
Pay close attention to what Taylor Swift says about being a Christian. What do you notice?
Disguising these policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
But does Taylor believe what the Bible teaches?
I just believe very firmly that everyone should be able to live out their love story without the fear of discrimination.
We're gonna act how we want, love who we want, be who we want, say what we want.
I'm here to honor someone who, through her words and through her actions, she tells the world that no one can judge us and no one can stop us. She is my friend, Ruby Rose. We're all treated equally under the law. Regardless of who we love, regardless of how we identify, we all deserve equal rights under the law.
Is Taylor really a Christian? What do you think?
False disciple.
Taylor Swift. Here's my 2 cents on the situation. Why do I even care? I'm a former psychic medium who has dealt in the demonic, who has been saved by Jesus Christ and has clearly seen both sides. Don't you think it's a little odd? Okay, let's say, whatever, you want to listen to her music. I don't care about that. I even know that unbelievers are living in their sin. They're spiritually blind. They're going to defend sin until they're blue in the face. But here's my deal, okay? Please don't defend that you think that there's anything Christian about her. If you honestly just take your feelings out of the situation for a minute and look at things like her video, They Just Need to Calm Down, where she's clearly coming up against Christians. Never mind all the witchcraft, the devil costumes, and the rituals. Oh, and the New Age ideologies like the invisible string nonsense. All right, I digress. Listen, here's the deal. When you are a Christian, you desire to read the Word of God, to obey the Word of God. Jesus says, if you love me, you keep my commandments. We love what God loves and we hate what God hates. Everything Swift has done is completely against God. And I think that's abundantly clear. I'm not telling you, hey, listen, we all have a choice, which is awesome. That is how cool God is, right? That's how amazing He is. We can choose to accept Jesus or reject Him. I'm not coming at people. I truly am not. I'm just saying that you have to look at the forces behind these things. Be honest about it, and then, do whatever you got to do. I leave you with this. Think to yourself. She came out as like America's sweetheart, the ideal Christian girl, and then made a major shift into the darkness. What do you think happened there?
Taylor Swift and the real truth. Christians, this one's for you. I'm going to show you all of the video clips. I'm going to show you all of the articles. I'm going to show you the direct reasons in solidified factual proof of why they go against Scripture. I'm also going to reference Scripture. So we're going to dive in. She has said publicly that she is a witch, and here she is embodying demonic activity in her concerts, in her music, and people have even said that they've experienced memory loss and amnesia after going to her concerts. The Bible is black and white. There are no gray areas with God. In Ephesians 5:11, it says, "Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them." 1 Corinthians 10:21, You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons too. You cannot have a part in both the Lord's table and the table of demons. 1 Corinthians 10:20. Rather, that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to demons and not to God. And I do not want you to have fellowship with demons. Matthew 16:25-27. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?
Do you think there's a level of fame that is just too dangerous?
Yeah, if you don't drink the Kool-Aid, you don't drink the gold juice, that I will live forever and I'll have whatever I want. So I was offered the gold juice 3 times. I don't know, but I didn't drink it and I didn't want it. They send like people after you. You can have everything you want, all the fame in the world, all the money. I'm like,
when I was working with this producer, we were working on my first album to get me shopped to get a major deal. And we were taking a break from recording this album and he took me around the studio. And this is someone who's been in the industry, like he's worked with big names. And so he was like, hey, so you know that if you were to sell your soul to the devil, you can have instant fame tomorrow. Yes, a music producer I was working with.
He actually said those words.
He actually said those words.
At the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically. Music is prayed over demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations, goes out to the public. And when you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening.
What do you mean by that, Shane? Prayed over demonically?
So rituals, ceremonies, everything to bring to give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry.
Proverbs 23 verse 7 states, as a man thinketh, so is he. Neurologically, in your brain, how you are made, do you know that your subconscious cannot differentiate negatives, which means don't think of something, don't think of a pink elephant. Why are you thinking of a pink elephant? Your focus, right? Can't differentiate between a joke nor the truth. Can't differentiate between singing and speaking. This man literally just got done telling you that these things are demonic rituals, worship, all of these things. So when you are singing these songs, you are unknowingly signing demonic strongholds and opening doors to come into your life.
We cannot, as Christians, be in both worlds. Spiritual warfare is real. I witnessed at the age of 14, a demon tried to possess my dad, but because he's filled with the Holy Spirit, he was not successful. But I saw the demon with my own eyes. I have seen spirits. I have seen demons, all of the things, and this is real. Are you awake yet? So yes, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Megan Fox, Shotgun Kelly, like I could go on and on and on. Lady Gaga, there is solidified proof. You want Katy Perry saying it herself, here you go.
But didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago? Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. Because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
If you love somebody, you love them so much, and you people who are in a relationship or those ones dying for a relationship, if you love somebody, would you go cheat on them just once? Just once. It's no big deal. Or would you go hang out with somebody who you know that they don't approve of? Would you go do something that is going to hurt the person that you love? Absolutely not. If you are truly in love with somebody and you have truly given yourself to that person, you're married, you have that vow, that sacred union, you're not going to go cheat on them. So why are you doing it to God? Every time you listen to this trash, every time you support this trash, you are basically spitting in God's face. And don't think I am any different, because I have been there. But I woke up. You want to know how I woke up? I started pursuing the Lord with everything that I have got. Jeremiah 29:11-13. Because God knows when you are half in with him, God knows when you are pursuing lust, when you are pursuing corn, when you are pursuing the physicality of the world and you're not married. God knows when you're idolizing money. God knows when you want, control. He knows, you guys. You cannot fool him. You cannot have this world and have Jesus too. Please wake up. 1 John 2:17, the world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever. You guys, this life is temporary. I want you to look at this next clip. The scene is too bad for me to even share on here, but I'm going to read the scriptures. They mocked him. They beat him. They drained his blood while he bled out. And he could have saved himself, but he didn't because he loves you. Because he loves us. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God," mocking him. In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and elders mocked him. He saved others, they said, but he can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe him. That is Satan, and you wonder why there's games in your mind and with the world. God tells us all the time, they hated me first. We have to stand firm in him. Matthew 27, verse 50, and when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks split. Buildings are literally collapsing and being torn apart. All he wants is a relationship with you. You're telling me that after all of this, you still think he doesn't love you? You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are not too unclean for the grace and the love and the forgiveness of God. If he can forgive me from divorce and abortion and blaming myself for miscarriage after that, for, lust and a corn addiction for years and years and self-pleasure and just so many things that absolutely wrecked me. And yet I am here today so in love with him and the life that he has destined for you. As humans, we walk ourselves into dumpster fire after dumpster fire after dumpster fire. For what? For what? You want to give up hearing God, being as close to God as you can, to listen to Taylor Swift and these other demonic embodiments? I'm not telling you these things to shame you, to guilt you, to make you feel bad. I'm telling you this because I love you, and I'm praying that you're going to wake up. We're supposed to be the light unto the world, the lamp unto his feet. We're not supposed to cower down and hide under these demonic forces. Satan is using whoever decides to follow the ways of the world and profess that they love God. Satan is using them for the latter. Have you ever heard of church abuse, where these people in the church pretend to love God and they're some of the worst of them all? You know what I'm trying to say. It is time to wake up. It is time to wake up, and I will tell you the honest truth. Every single day until my face is blue from breath, lack of breath, whatever, because I love you, because I don't want you to get to the end of this life and live in regret and say, "Oh, I didn't know that," or "Oh, I didn't know that." Like, please wake up. Please wake up before it's too late.
This advice from Taylor Swift is dangerous and exactly opposite of what Jesus says to do. Take a listen.
You don't have to forgive, and you don't have to forget to move on. You can move on without any of those things happening. You just become indifferent, and then you move on.
If you claim to be a Christian, then you should not be listening to Taylor Swift's music. If you want to know why, go watch the video that I pinned in the comments.
As a Christian, you should no longer be supporting Taylor Swift and her music. Now, before I say anything, I want you to know that I grew up as a Taylor Swift fan. I was like an OG Taylor Swift fan, and it's sad to see another good artist sell their soul to the devil. But I started to notice Taylor Swift was going down that path after she made the song Karma. She literally said, "Karma is a god, karma is my boyfriend." And some of you are like, no, she didn't sell her soul. Like, she's a Christian. She's from Tennessee. I don't care where you're from or what you call yourself. Actions speak louder than words. Taylor Swift is not a Christian. There's literally live footage of her performing witchcraft on stage. Not to mention in her music video when she was literally wearing a demonic mask. Like, this literally looks like she's in hell and she's having a good time. If she was literally Christian, there is no way in heck she would be doing any of this. And in her most recent album, The Tortured Poets Department, there's literally 2 songs where she's mocking Jesus. You hung me on your wall and stabbed me with your push pins. What if I roll a stone away? They're gonna crucify me anyway. She's also made a song called False God, saying even if it's a false god, we'd still worship. It's not giving Christian. It's not giving I love Jesus and I'm a follower of Jesus. There is a guy that I follow. His name is Isaiah Robin, and he has made a full in-depth video on Taylor Swift. And so if my video was not proof enough, go watch this one. You all need to be careful on who you're celebrating. You need to be careful on who you're listening to, because music is one of the most influential things on this planet. And her music is getting dark, and it's getting dark very quickly.
I want to know more about the presence of Taylor Swift, who sort of leads this like mean girl clique. There was a thing happening over the summer that the Daily Mail reported on where there were other female artists such as Billie Eilish who were releasing albums in the sort of tailwinds of her last release. She was manipulating all of her new releases to keep these women from hitting #1. This is who she runs with. And that tells me everything. And like, I just, to sit there and have your husband bully your director.
Yes.
You know, like, if you don't like this, have the balls to do it yourself.
Right.
Like, don't have your husband throw his weight around.
With your husband, that's so weird. Like your husband who's Ryan Reynolds. Of course it was a threat.
And in your penthouse, like on your home turf, like using your wealth as leverage, right? Like showing off, like
and
look
your
at
friend Taylor,
and your friend Taylor, who's like, what is she doing there? Is she just like scrolling Instagram?
One of my dragons.
What is she like? That is just wild.
Swift, and I've never changed my mind about her. I think she's a really manipulative young lady, and by young I mean she's the same age as me. She's about to be 34 in December. She's an adult woman, and I also think that she engages in a lot of petty behavior. She's not a nice girl, despite the marketing machine trying to convince people otherwise. And why was I talking about this a couple of weeks ago? Well, because Taylor Swift decided to befriend Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner, the actress from Game of Thrones. She played Sansa, who was married to Joe Jonas, Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend, from when she was 18 years old. Now, you would think that, okay, you have a breakup when you're 18 years old. You become an adult, you're now 34. You would be over that breakup. You wouldn't do anything vindictive to that individual who has moved on in his own adult life. But Taylor Swift is not that person, obviously. When she got wind that Sophie Turner was divorcing her ex-boyfriend of many, many years ago, and I don't know who reached out to who. Maybe it was Sophie. I'm not cutting her any slack here. It's unbelievably immature. Taylor Swift decided to embrace Sophie Turner, to become instant best friends with her. I again want to state that Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner were married. They're in the middle of a divorce. They have 2 young children. This is a real relationship, not the 5-minute flash in the pan relationships that Taylor Swift has become famous for. Not Taylor Swift going on Ellen when she was 18 years old and saying how Joe Jonas broke up with her in a 25-second phone call and she was hurt. We're talking about a real marriage that yielded 2 young, beautiful children. But even that didn't matter, Taylor Swift, because getting back at her ex was too irresistible. And so she opened her arms to Sophie Turner, not just her arms and the paparazzi intentionally following them around so that Joe Jonas could really feel the burn, but even her home. Yeah, an update to that story is that Taylor Swift is allowing Sophie Turner to stay at her apartment in the midst of this divorce and these divorce proceedings, which are getting nasty, by the way. And the paparazzi is now capturing pictures of Joe Jonas's daughter leaving his ex-girlfriend Taylor Swift's apartment, ex by over a decade ago, and Taylor Swift is not over it. But people ignore this side of Taylor Swift. They pretend that she's a nice girl because she makes music that appeals to angsty teenagers. And so everybody just thinks she's just an angsty 15-year-old. Ignore the fact that she's a 34-year-old adult woman who has a very odd dating pattern. If she's so wonderful and she's so great and she's so sweet, why hasn't any man stepped up to the plate to marry her? Why didn't Joe Alwyn want to marry her after 6 years of dating her? Well, maybe it's because Taylor Swift has a lot of personalities, and people think that that's cute and it's funny because you get to dress up as one of her personalities and go to the Eras tour. But me, and maybe I suffer from also being 34-year-old adult woman, I just think it's odd. I think her behavior is really, really cringy. And I think that those of us who have had the courage to say this, despite the fandom, the evil Taylor Swift fandom coming after you and threatening to kill you, if you don't see that she's actually perfection, yeah, I'm going to hold on to my opinion.
So I went to the same high school as Taylor Swift. We grew up in the same town. And I haven't seen any of, the people who go in over conspiracy theories talk about this, which makes me think that people don't know that this happened. So I'll tell you. I want to go ahead before and just do a blanket apology for not knowing much about Taylor Swift, even though we went to the same high school. I was a church kid. I didn't really listen to Taylor Swift. Kind of just got into Taylor Swift, so give me some grace. So in 2006, I'm a freshman in high school. Taylor is, I think, a junior. Teardrops on My Guitar had just come out, I think, over the summer. Obviously, she got really big, and that's the year that she left school. She was homeschooled in 2006. Something you need to know about Hendersonville High School when she first started becoming super successful is that most people hated her. Yeah. Keep in mind, these are her peers. This isn't like just random people on the internet. She's literally like, 16, 17, leaving high school to pursue a career that people are telling her that she could never have, Also, the guys she was writing these songs about, they were still in school, They were still there. And now they have a hit song about them talking about what a shitty boyfriend they are, There are a lot of rumors going around about how she got her start in the first place, and I don't really know. The fact remains is that there were not a lot of people at high school who had nice things to say about her. Fast forward, it's 2009, I'm a senior in high school. My senior class gets invited by Taylor Swift to the 2009 CMA Awards. So when we found out that we were going, we were all really excited. I mean, who gets invited by Taylor Swift to the CMAs? That's really cool. But it was very random. We didn't know why Taylor Swift was inviting us to the CMAs. As we all know, 2009 is the year that she killed the game. Entertainer of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, Album of the Year, Music Video of the Year. Her performances were incredible. It's 2022. Taylor announces Midnights, right? It's going to be released on Kim Kardashian's birthday. That's when I start realizing Taylor's a petty bitch. And then I start learning about all of the other petty things that Taylor has done over the years. Y'all, she invited us to the CMAs to say fuck you. And we deserved it. So to Taylor, touche. That was a good one.
And there's so much that I want to say about this. There's no way that I'm going to have enough time. This is, I would probably say, the #1 prediction that I have been making that divides my fans, because I have a legion of Swifties that also listen to my podcast. I love you all, and I do not fault you for being Taylor Swift fans. I have her music on my iPhone. Let me actually slow this down. I'm going to make myself at first say 3 really nice things about Taylor Swift, okay? #1, she makes really catchy music. I like her old stuff better than her new stuff, but there is no doubt that Taylor Swift is definitely musically talented. #2, nobody rocks a bang better than Taylor Swift. That girl actually looks better with bangs. Every time I see the way she wears it, whether it's shaggy, whether it's straight, I think she looks phenomenal. #3, she is incredibly hard worker. So I deeply respect how hard she works. Her current Eras tour, I think each of her stops is 3 hours on stage. If you guys knew how much energy that takes to commit, Taylor Swift, hat is off to you. You're an incredibly hard worker. And now that I've gotten that out of the way, so that the people that are Swifties that also love me don't get too enraged at me, I'm going to tell you my very long-standing prediction about her. Taylor Swift is a ticking time bomb in conservative world. I have been saying this for a very long time. She has amassed a legion of fans. You've seen her kind of dabble her toe and say a thing here or there about politics. And Taylor Swift, it's the same age as me. We were both born in '89. So that means that Taylor Swift is just about to turn 34 years old. And we've not yet seen Taylor Swift go fully crazy because she's had boys to keep her busy. Now, aside from the fact that she switches relationships way too fast, which I think is problematic, and it is a bad example to the young women that follow her, and aside from the fact that she pretty much collects friends like they're Beanie Babies. These are all things that I fault her for. The bigger issue when it comes to Taylor Swift is that she is an actual fraud. I mean, I cannot make this clear enough. And like I said, you might disagree with me now, but I am telling you that I'm going to give it about 5 years for everything that I say to be proven right. Her entire shtick, and you know that one of the things that pains me the most, are women that infantilize themselves, right? So I just told you that Taylor Swift is 34 years old. When you hear Taylor Swift talk to her audiences, she sounds like she's a little scared girl. That's her act. I'm a little scared girl, and I need my legion of 12 and 11-year-old fans to all attack the person or the thing that I'm no longer happy with. I mean, essentially, she is a bit of a glorified bully. She's routinely makes music about individuals that she feels she's been burned by, and the way that she gets even with them, she's basically got the Mean Girl burn book, is she creates a catchy pop tune, and then she has a legion of people singing tunes that is actually about a real person, but nobody thinks about it this way because you say, it's art. And maybe I should learn from that. Maybe what I should start doing on the show is creating catchy songs about everybody that annoys me and that I don't like. Maybe I should make a catchy pop song about transgenderism and Dylan Mulvaney. I'll try that next year, but that's not going to be my shtick today. And I want to point you to just an example of what I'm talking about in terms of her pretending to be a little girl when in fact she is a woman that is 34 years old. This is a clip from her Netflix special, which was called a documentary that was called Miss Americana. And she's going to sell to audiences that she's just a scared little girl that wants to find her voice to speak out about politics as she's speaking to her parents. Take a listen.
It really is a big deal. She votes against fair pay for women. She votes against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which is just basically protecting us from domestic abuse and stalking. I need to do this. I need you to just, Dad, I need you to forgive me for doing it, because I'm doing it.
If Taylor Swift was a 15-year-old little girl and sitting on that couch, cross-legged, crying in front of her mommy and daddy about how she wanted to find her voice, I would buy that. Again, Taylor Swift is 34 years old. She does not need to ask mommy and daddy to do anything at all. She never has had to, for a very long time has she had to ask her parents whether she can do anything. She owns homes all over the world. In fact, she buys homes wherever her many boyfriends live every time that she's dating them. So this is her selling an act. She's very thoughtful. She's very intelligent. It's a marketing act of her once again being the little girl, which is fine because that marketing act works for her. But when she uses it to attack individuals and to send people, get her legion of fans to send death threats to every single person that makes her angry, it becomes extremely problematic. I will give you just one example that made me really recognize how absolutely insane Taylor Swift is. Scooter Braun is a huge executive. He owns Big Machine Records with Scott Borchetta. This is who Big Machine Records is who Taylor Swift signed with when she was young, when she was just 15 years old. Something to know about Taylor Swift is she's never been a victim. Her parents are extremely wealthy. When she decided that she wanted to be a singer and pretend to be from Nashville, her parents moved her from her hometown in Pennsylvania down to Nashville and got her the meetings with music execs. This is not a come-up story where Taylor Swift was some shy girl who had a little bit of talent and was maybe living on the streets and got discovered. It was an executive decision between her parents and their lawyers to sign with Big Machine Records. They, like I said, had lawyers that were present. And at the time, they never knew how famous Taylor Swift was going to get. They made a bet that she might sell some music, but obviously if hindsight 2020 and knew how big of a star she was going to be, they would have never in a million years signed the deal that they signed then. So Taylor Swift learns that her masters have been sold to Scooter Braun by Scott Borchetta, which is a regular business decision. She is allowed to buy her masters. Scooter Braun decided to buy her masters. When she found this out, rather than realizing, oh, well, I lost out on a business deal, she instead appealed to her legion of crazy fans to attack Scooter Braun by pretending that she was a victim because she is a woman. Here's what she actually wrote on her Tumblr. For years, I pleaded for a chance to own my work. Instead, I was given an opportunity to sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one album back at a time, one for every new one I turned in. I walked away because I knew once I signed that contract, Scott Borchetta would sell the label, thereby selling me and my future. I had to make the excruciating choice to leave behind my past, music that I wrote on my bedroom floor, and videos that I dreamed up and paid for from the money I earned playing in bars and then clubs and then arenas.
Taylor Swift needs to be fucking stopped.
I saw this video on my For You page today. Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Rowan are the only women in the top 10 of this week's Billboard Hot 100, with the comment that billionaire lady gonna drop another album tomorrow when she sees this. And like fucking clockwork, Taylor Swift releases the acoustic version of her song Fortnite. Now, benefit of the doubt, it can come across as like, oh, it's just coincidental. Except for the fact that she's done this shit before. Anytime any other female artist has a monicum of success on the top 100 Billboard, she releases some new version of a song or some new version of an album so that she could stay at the top and stay above them. When Olivia Rodrigo is releasing her debut album, she has to shut that shit down because she's releasing her album around the same time. She claims to be like an artist who's for the girls, but the second the girls are winning, she doesn't celebrate them. No, she has to release something so that she can stay fucking above them. Some people are gonna quick jump to the comments and be like, well, didn't Sabrina Carpenter's version of Espresso have like 10 different versions? The difference is, Espresso had 10 different versions in the same EP. They were all released at the same time. Taylor Swift withholds versions of her songs in case somebody surpasses her, and then she can release something so she can stay ahead. She doesn't just release every version of every song on every one of her albums right away like Sabrina Carpenter did. No. She has to hold on to them just in case, somebody else has any kind of success that isn't her. Then I would make this whole rant about like the industry and how greedy and corrupt it is, but I've already done that. But more importantly, she's basically the only artist I see doing this stuff. The only person that comes to mind immediately is Lil Nas X, but he released like 4 different versions of Old Town Road periodically so that he could get his name out there, and then when he did, he stopped releasing like bonus versions of his songs. He just released songs. With the exception of a second version of Panini featuring DaBaby. He was literally doing that to get into the industry. He was doing that to push his name out there. And the second that he got his fame, he stopped all that shit. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift is one of the most popular artists on the fucking planet, with fans who will literally rip your head off if you're not actively listening to her or you criticize her in any way, shape, or form. So all she has to do is release a new fucking song and everyone's gonna eat that up and silence anybody else trying to get some kind of success. It's shameful, it's greedy, it's petty, it's Taylor. And again, you can make the argument that, oh, she just wanted to release the acoustic version of her song and it just happened to be timed at the exact same time as Chappell Rowan and Sabrina Carpenter are making their way through the Billboard Top 100. But it certainly feels fake and petty as shit because this song, an acoustic version of it, barely sounds different than the original. It feels like she's just churning out different versions of her songs to just go popular. These two have been working their asses off to get where they are. Chappell Rowan specifically, she's been in the industry for a while. Only for somebody who was already at the top, who could elevate them, who could support them, who could bring them more to light, instead deciding to take their big fucking diamond-studded jet plane boot and step on them as they're trying to climb the ladder with her. Because at the end of the day, if she's not at the front of every headline, if she's not in the middle of some incredibly popular controversy, and if she's not the leading woman on the Billboard all the fucking time, then she's going to have a goddamn fucking meltdown.
That's so cute. I was talking to him about that yesterday, and I was like, don't worry, you and Autumn are so cute together. And is this our room? Yeah. To the Republic for which it stands.
Taylor and Chris.
I'm the most competitive person I know.
Define Nalpa bonus.
I just got my report card back and I had straight A's. I'm really happy.
Chris, you've been had, buddy.
My dad said that he's really impressed with your music. He wanted me to tell you that.
Really? We listened to your
He said you sound like you're like 25.
I do sing, it's who I am. But, there's always a huge fear of failure and rejection. You have nightmares about it. Everybody does.
Just another picture to burn.
The chorus is, "It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time. Everybody agrees." I shouldn't laugh, but it's just so not good that it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Ready? This is a couple of lyrics from the verse because it gets deeper. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm a monster on the hill. Oh my gosh, that's so deep. Let me say that to you again. Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby and I'm a monster on the hill. That is so relatable. I feel like that sometimes too. I don't know what a sexy baby is, neither do you. But I guess this is supposed to be deep and we're supposed to think about it. Of course, the journalists love to describe it as cryptic and there's some deep message that's in here. So if you're not getting it because you shouldn't be getting it because it makes no sense, actually the problem is you for not seeing how deep the porcelain urinal is, because this is porcelain urinal for music, right? More lyrics. I have this dream my daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers round and reads it, and then someone screams out, "She's laughing up at us from hell." I don't know what any of that means, but she jumps right back into the deep chorus. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Hi. It's me. Hi. Everybody agrees that this song sucks. So
some people may beg to differ about this song. When my depression works the graveyard shift, all of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room. Is she admitting that she is a piece of shit who ghosts people? People who don't feed her narcissistic, megalomaniac, psychological egoism? They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. That's not extraordinary or revolutionary. And yes, her narcissism does disguise as altruism because everybody at her level is a narcissist.
More has come out in the past couple days about Leanne, the woman who posted a video claiming that Taylor Swift owed her a huge apology for how she treated her in high school, bullying her for being pregnant, and a lot more. And it looks like Leanne is a liar. Let's do a little timeline comparison here. In her video, Leanne claimed that she was pregnant and attending high school in fall of 2004 with Taylor Swift. So yes, Taylor Swift did attend that high school in 2004, except she was 2 years younger than Leanne, and fall was her first year at that high school. It was also her first year in that town. She was brand new after moving from Pennsylvania. So Leanne is claiming that the new girl in town, 14-year-old freshman Taylor Swift, bullied her when she was a 16-year-old pregnant junior. Leanne in her video also claimed that there were camera crews everywhere when she was pregnant and she had to miss 6 weeks of school so that Taylor Swift could film. So Leanne's son was born in March of 2005. However, Taylor Swift did not sign with a record label until 2005, and they never filmed her until late 2005, early 2006.
That still doesn't mean that she didn't bully her, because she very well could have.
Taylor Swift, just like Beyonce, she hasn't had a good studio album in a while. The last 2 or 3 Taylor Swift albums have been objectively very bad. This is porcelain urinal for music, right? More lyrics. I have this dream my daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers round and reads it, and then someone screams out, "She's laughing up at us from hell." I don't know what any of that means, but hi, it's me. Hi, everybody agrees that this song sucks. So I just want to bring it up because we are talking about how our culture is going down the drain in America. And of course, Hollywood is a big piece of this. We don't aspire towards art. We do not have true lyricism anymore.
I don't think you should ever have to apologize for your excitement just because it's like, I don't know, just because something's cliche doesn't mean that it's not something that's awesome.
True. What people call, supposedly cheesy is just joy, isn't it?
Yeah, like the worst kind of person is someone who makes someone feel bad, dumb, or stupid for like being excited about something.
No, I hear that.
Worst type of person.
I really, really want everyone to know, especially young people, that the hundreds or thousands of dumb ideas that I've had are what led me to my good ideas. You have to give yourself permission to fail. I try as hard as I can not to fail because it's embarrassing, but I do give myself permission to, and you should too. So go easy on yourselves and just make the right choices that feel right for you. And someday someone might think that you've been innovative.
like, why? Why can't people see this? Now, why does this frustrate me? Because I talk about this all the time. We are also facing a crisis where adults want to behave like children and children want to behave like adults. And people think this is cute. It's not. This is not how 34-year-old women behave. We don't come up with secret handshakes. We don't hip bump each other. That is childish. It is theatrical. It should never be seen. I have such an issue with this. It just makes me cringe every inch of my body. Every time I watch it, it makes me cringe.
I'm so glad people are finally realizing how much of a terrible human being that Taylor Swift is. Because I've been waiting for this date for forever now. Whenever forever started, that's when I started hating the bitch. Fuck her. I don't even want to talk about her carbon footprint or her being a quote-unquote white feminist or whatever. Her taking a 13-minute flight to something that's 27 miles. I really just want to talk about the fact that her music is so fucking corny and easy to make. Here's the Taylor Swift formula if you don't know. Taylor Swift will date a man for a certain amount of time, break up with him, and then make a song about him as if he did something wrong. And all of her fans will eat it up as if she is the Picasso of music. They said that she is Michael Jackson level famous. You don't look like The Weeknd to me. Michael Jackson will moonwalk circles around that no rhythm, no talent having bitch. I'm not gonna lie, I want her boyfriend to win the Super Bowl. Just so he can propose, and then about 6 months later, they end up breaking up and she makes a song about him. Then people will realize how trash she actually really is.
Taylor Swift, you think she's the most toxic feminist that's ever existed. You stand by that?
Yes.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. Do you want to talk about what she did to Scooter Braun? Scooter Braun simply bought a company and inherited her masters as a result of that. She jumps on Tumblr and she manipulates a bunch of 15-year-olds into believing, I wrote these songs on my floor. And Scooter Braun, the evil man, is trying to take them from me. The reality, her dad owned 15% of the company. Her dad, therefore, was aware that the business was being sold. Her dad signed the deals.
Well, she had the last laugh.
Stop, I'm not done. They threatened to kill Scooter Braun and his children. He publicly pleaded with her to please tell her fans to stop. And she didn't do it because she wanted out of her contract.
When was it hardest? When was it toughest for you?
This has happened several times. So I can't, like, you know, when I was like 23 and people were just like kind of reducing me to like kind of making slideshows of like my dating life and putting people in there that I'd sat next to at a party once and deciding that my songwriting was like a trick rather than a skill and a craft. Kind of, it's a way to take a woman who's doing her job and succeeding at doing her job and making things, and it's figuring out how to completely minimize that skill by taking something that everyone, you know, in their darkest moments loves to do, which is to slut shame.
No one is saying it, so I'm going to say it. I would love Taylor Swift a million times more if she let go of this fake all-American girl persona and showed us this ruthless, heartless, money-hungry woman that she truly is. This all started because Charli XCX has been projected to be #1 in the UK for weeks. Now, Taylor Swift is trying to beat records in the UK by having a #1 album for the longest amount of weeks in the UK. She's trying to beat the Beatles. So what does she do? The day that Charli XCX drops her album, she re-releases the 37th version of her Hot Dog Water Dead Tortured Poets, whatever she's calling it, so that Charli can't chart, which led me down this rabbit hole. Allegedly, Taylor released Reputation on the 10th anniversary of Donda West's death. If you don't know who that is, it's Kanye's mom. This little scene in her Look What You Made Me Do music video is allegedly inspired by the Kim Kardashian diamond heist, where she was bound, gagged, and held at gunpoint and had over $10 million worth of jewelry stolen from her. And then this is my favorite. Back in the day, Taylor had taken all of her music off of all of the streaming platforms so she could have an exclusive deal with Apple Music. Katy Perry decides to drop her album one day, and guess what? Taylor decides, let's put all my music back on Spotify so that we can have the headlines in an uproar. Because really, who's going to be paying attention to anything if Taylor Swift decides to make a move that big? Taylor, I just want you to embrace it, baby, because you're not fooling anyone.
There's a bunch of times Taylor Swift has outed herself as a liar. So first up is one that I don't see getting talked about nearly enough, which is in the getaway car riding session. She says lying in a getaway car several times. We were lying in a getaway car. You wouldn't take my word for it if you knew who was talking, dear reader. So here's the truth from my red lips. The in-game music video, we all know that one. Her lips were not red. Stolen kisses, pretty lies. We play dumb, but we know exactly what we're doing. New romantics. It's poker. He can't see it in my face, but I'm about to play my ace. If you know, you know. The rumors are terrible and cruel, but honey, most of them are true. Saying the purple glitter was midnight blue. We have eyes, Taylor. Not a lot going on at the moment. That was a fun one. Fake love out on the town. But it lies and it lies and it lies a million little times. Carolina knows why for years they've said that I was guilty as sin and sleep in a liar's bed. So I play them like a violin and I make it look oh so easy, cause for every lie I tell them, they tell me 3. Toying with them older guys, just playthings for me to use. This maybe isn't exactly lying, but like kinda, right? I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. I'll be the actress starring in your bad dreams. There I was again tonight, forcing laughter, faking smiles. I bent the truth too far tonight. I was dancing around it. She stole his dog and dyed it key lime green. It was a cat, not a dog. Forever is the sweetest con, and the old man that I've swindled really did believe I was the one. The lines between fantasy and reality blur, and the boundaries between truth and fiction become almost indiscernible. Speculation, over time, becomes fact. There's a bunch of times Taylor Swift has outed herself as a liar. So first up is one that I don't see getting talked about nearly enough, which is in the getaway car riding session. She says lying in a getaway car several times. We were lying in a getaway car. You wouldn't take my word for it if you knew who was talking, dear reader. So here's the truth from my red lips. The in-game music video, we all know that one. Her lips were not red. Stolen kisses, pretty lies. We play dumb, but we know exactly what we're doing. New romantics. It's poker. He can't see it in my face, but I'm about to play my ace. If you know, you know. The rumors are terrible and cruel, but honey, most of them are true. Saying the purple glitter was midnight blue. We have eyes, Taylor. Not a lot going on at the moment. That was a fun one. Fake love out on the town. But it lies and it lies and it lies a million little times. Carolina knows why for years they've said that I was guilty as sin and sleep in a liar's bed. So I play them like a violin and I make it look oh so easy, cause for every lie I tell them, they tell me 3. Toying with them older guys, just playthings for me to use. This maybe isn't exactly lying, but like kinda, right? I don't trust nobody and nobody trusts me. I'll be the actress starring in your bad dreams. There I was again tonight, forcing laughter, faking smiles. I bent the truth too far tonight. I was dancing around it. She stole his dog and dyed it key lime green. It was a cat, not a dog. Forever is the sweetest con, and the old man that I've swindled really did believe I was the one. The lines between fantasy and reality blur, and the boundaries between truth and fiction become almost indiscernible. Speculation, over time, becomes fact.
I am now fully convinced that Taylor Swift is a secret, covert, manipulative mean girl. And the whole reason she is able to maintain this innocent girl next door, American as apple pie persona is because she has a subset of feral ride or die fans who cannot accept that there is any sort of criticism directed toward Taylor Swift. I don't think anyone should be put on a pedestal. Not Mr. Rogers, not Elmo, not Taylor Swift. I do not think that she would be a good friend. This is someone who profits off of the discomfort of others. She writes about them in her music. That's nothing new. But I am convinced that Taylor Swift is a mean girl. She would not be a good friend, and she can maintain this persona because she has these feral fans who will do the bullying for her.
So I'm here in the pickup line, and I was like scrolling through TikTok, and I came across a video of a girl who came out recently and shared her story about how Taylor Swift bullied her. And I just wanted to come on here and share my story too, because I was also a victim of her bullying. So we went to the same high school, we were in the same class and everything. Of course, she's beautiful, she was a great writer, and she was always like carrying her guitar everywhere she went. And we all kind of knew that eventually she would be something great in music. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how she bullied me. Well, I don't know if this is really bullying me, but kind of. Let's see what you guys think. So we had gym class together. And our lockers didn't have locks. So anyone could like basically go into your gym locker. So nobody like left anything really there. But for whatever reason, which I find so weird, is that one day she went to my locker, smelled my socks, and literally told everyone how my feet smell like cheese. It was literally so embarrassing because we were just in gym class, and just out of nowhere, she screamed out, "Andrea's feet smell like cheese." And everybody started laughing at me, and I was just so embarrassed. I just wanted to like cry and cry, but I survived, I guess. And then from there on, everyone called me cheese feet, all because of her. So yeah, shout out to Taylor Swift. Also, if I'm looking that way, it's because I'm like watching the kids come out of school. But yeah.
Why is Taylor Swift one of the most hated celebrities? Number one, Swift fatigue. Nowadays, you cannot turn on any TV or go on any social media page without hearing about Taylor Swift. She has infiltrated not only American sports, but now she's also infiltrated politics, which leads me to my next point. She is not quiet politically. Taylor has taken a very firm stance against Donald Trump and is liberal in her views, and this definitely alienates a large portion of her followers. This list would not be complete without mentioning her carbon footprint. You cannot say the name Taylor Swift without hearing someone make a mention of her private jet and how just in 2023 alone, she flew this jet nearly 200,000 miles. She even has a stalker on Twitter that tracks all of her private jet's flights. One of the biggest complaints about Taylor Swift is that she makes her music all about boys, all about relationships, and all about breakups. And although when other musicians that are male make songs about hooking up with women or saying degrading things about women, that's completely brushed aside. In my opinion, women should be allowed to sing about whatever the hell they want to sing about. Haters also love to point out the fact that Taylor Swift songs all sound the same. And to these people, I have to ask, have you listened to anything other than Shake It Off? Taylor Swift's music has transcended so many genres, and if you even give a listen to Folklore or Evermore, you'll see how versatile she is as an artist. The number one reason why people hate Taylor is because people love to hate in numbers. It's all about mob mentality. It is now becoming the cool thing to hate Taylor Swift, and as her popularity and outspoken fans rise, so will those that try to disagree just for the sake of disagreeing and being cool. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Taylor, and I never understood the hate, but what are your opinions?
The way so many Swifties still fight tooth and nail to try to say that she is an activist, that she is a feminist, that she, has good political moral values is crazy to me. That woman has no values. She doesn't really speak up about anything. You want me to care about that documentary from 10 years ago where she supported Biden? Nothing is revolutionary about supporting Biden. I'm sorry. Or nothing is revolutionary about being against Trump. That's like the bare fucking minimum someone could do. That woman hoards wealth just like the rest of the billionaires. She only talks about feminism when it's to defend herself. She doesn't care about any other issues. Because if she did, she would be a lot more vocal about shit. And she's not. And I really don't give a fuck when people are like, well, she can't for her own safety. People would attack her. That woman has billions of dollars. She could spend it on security. She already does. Like, you could like Taylor Swift. You could be a fan of Taylor Swift. I'll still probably judge you because not much going on there. She's got some bops, but that's about it. But to try and say that she's some great activist and she has good moral values and she's an awesome feminist or some shit like that, you're just like lying to yourself at that point, I gotta say. Like, nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. You're buying it. You're giving her more money for her mediocrity. I just can't. This woman has been on this, she's been famous forever. And she's really only spoken out once or twice. Like, yeah, against Donald Trump. Yeah, okay, thanks for doing the bare minimum, girl. Like, we all know. And supporting the Democratic Party, like, okay.
Like, if I had that type of fame and money, you know what I would be doing? I'd be fucking talking about literally every fucking issue. Maybe not every single issue, I don't know. There's a lot of issues out there. But I'd be using my platform like every fucking day to raise money and donate money. But she doesn't, because she doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't give a fuck. I gotta say. And she's not a showgirl, I'll say that too.
I want to ask every half-brain, half-an-ass that still supports Taylor Swift or thinks that Taylor Swift is a good person, that how is it female empowerment? How is it empowering women to literally sideline an artist that's probably at the peak of their career, Charli XCX, trending, going to be #1 in the UK, and Taylor Swift has to re-release the same motherfucking boring-ass album because she knows that her zombie followers will literally be attracted to her boring-ass re-releases, the same thing over and over again, like zombies to rotting flesh. She knows that. She's preying on the fact that you guys will literally eat up every single thing that she puts out, and it's mediocre at best. Like, I used to be a low-key supporter, would never say that I was a Swiftie. It's like, oh, I like some of her music. I think some of her music is really resonates with a lot of people. But at this point, it's literally just bullying. It's bullying, and to prove, like, what? You're a better capitalist? You're better at monetizing your art? It's like Charli XCX is like actually trying to do something different and trying to resonate with a whole demographic of people that are marginalized, that are ostracized, that are whatever. And it's Taylor Swift will be the first example to never isolate the conservatives in her fan base. She'll never isolate the nastiest individuals in society because to her, they're just dollar signs. They're more dollar signs, they're more streams, they're more listens, they're more views, they're more consumers. And that's all Taylor Swift will ever be at this point. She is a money-making machine. She only cares about her image. She only cares about dollar signs. And she'll literally give you half-baked, lukewarm leftovers, and you will eat it out of the palm of your hands.
Hey, Taylor Swift dropped The Life of a Showgirl, and I have a piece of information for the Swiftie analysts. I am fully looking forward to the Easter egg report later that I know y'all are putting together right now. Okay, my contribution is the album comes out on October 3rd, and like, October 3rd is considered National Mean Girls Day, and I'm sorry, but there is no way that Taylor didn't do this intentionally, because I feel like she does everything intentionally. I know it's like 10-3, and like she loves the number 13, but I'm like, no, this is too pointed. I know you guys are going to figure it out, and I cannot wait to watch your full analysis on why she chose National Mean Girl Day for the album release. Also, there was another recent callback to October 3rd in Freakier Friday. If you haven't seen it, Lindsay Lohan's character actually was getting married in the movie, and the wedding was on October 3rd, and they had a lot of great callbacks in this movie. They also brought on her evil stepmom from Parent Trap, and there were like a bunch of references to the older Freakier Friday. So go see that, and I'm like, does it have something to do, or is she gonna bring Pink Slip and Lindsay Lohan on for a song? I don't know. Anyway, can't wait to fully dive into your theories tonight because I'm sure there's gonna be a million videos and I am ready. Also, Lindsay has red hair, orange. I don't know, guys, piece it together for me.
Taylor Swift is a pick-me, and there are so many comments on my recent videos of me criticizing Selena for becoming a billionaire and being like, do you have the same energy for Taylor Swift? And it's like, I absolutely have the same energy for Taylor Swift. And for me, Taylor Swift is even worse because she surrounds herself with misogynistic, Trump-supporting people. Like, she is supposed to be the rah-rah advocate for feminism, to be this like icon in the pop space, when these are the people that she associates herself with. Birds of a feather flock together. Taylor Swift doesn't actually care about anyone other than herself. It makes me think about the Miss Americana clip of her talking about and like being vocal about politics. And I think she did that because she wanted to save her career. She wanted to save her identity when it came to the platform that she had. But we are in a very volatile political sphere at this very moment. She hasn't endorsed Harris. She hasn't come out and talked about Trump's AI situation when it was in regards to her, and she isn't calling out these bad behaviors. She has so much influence over women specifically, and she does not use that influence. She does not care about anything other than a dollar, so I am first in line to criticize Taylor Swift. I don't stand with pick-me's, and I don't stand with billionaires.
It's like, so, I want to go to the mall. Do you guys want to go to the mall? And I'm like, no, I'm busy. No, I'm busy. No, I'm busy. No, my mom says I can't go. So I'm like, okay, well, Mom, let's go to the mall. And so we get there, and we run into all of the friends that I had called to go to the mall, and they were all there together without me.
Did you hear about Taylor Swift releasing like 20 new versions of every song just to spite small artists?
It is really telling that you care when she does it, but not when it's a man.
I've literally never heard of anyone else doing that ever.
Exactly. Because when a man does it, it doesn't make the news.
Okay, either way, it just seems like something a cartoon villain would do.
Oh, so you hate cartoon villains?
What?
You hate Megamind. You hate Ice King. You hate Dr. Doofenshmirtz?
No.
Exactly. Because they're men.
Taylor Swift just took a 45-second flight to get batteries from Target.
Who wouldn't do that, though? Be honest.
I wouldn't.
Come on. If I had a private jet, I'd take it to go to the bathroom to pee.
That makes you a bad person.
No!
You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me? You mean $1 million 5-bedroom suburban home?
Say you don't know what poetry is without saying you don't know what poetry is.
Back up! I like poetry.
It's called a metaphor. Did you skip English class in the 3rd grade, dum-dum? She's not literally saying she was in an asylum. She's saying that the spotlight at such a young age made her feel crazy.
So she's complaining about being rich and famous since she was a kid? That feels really out of touch.
You're lucky you weren't rich and famous as a kid, that you actually got to have a childhood.
I was an orphan working full-time at a meatpacking plant since I was 12.
Exactly. You have no concept of how hard her life was.
Remember when Taylor Swift was getting made fun of by everyone in her hometown for a number of reasons.
This right here, because hi, I grew up in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So facts, I actually had friends who went to Hendersonville High School, and I remember very distinctly them just being like, oh my God, who does this girl think she is? Because everyone in Hendersonville's family's in the music industry, and so they kind of just don't care. Or when people are like, oh my God, I'm gonna make it, they're like, get in line. Not saying that's what Taylor Swift said, I'm just saying that's what we hear a lot in Nashville, right? Because we live there. But I will say the best moment of my life is when I got in one of those Hendersonville High School friends' car, and he had his like iPod plugged into the aux, and Debut started playing, and I was like, time out. You cannot talk any more shit because you have her album on your iPod. I don't want to hear it. But yes, Hendersonville was not super receptive to Taylor at first, but she's amazing, and I loved her from the beginning, so here we are. I didn't go down.
Taylor Swift is basic and mediocre. You being a fan of her does not change those facts. There's no Britneys of this generation. Black people do not hate Taylor Swift. We just know white greatness. We grew up with pop stars, alt-rock bands, indie people, and women, especially white people, where we knew all the music, we knew all the words, we knew everything they were doing because they were fucking great. They were great.
I said what I said. Okay, well, what you said was some bull. But you don't like it. You don't like it. I show.
I made a video a few days ago talking about Tate McRae and how I encountered several Gen Z people who said Tate McRae is the best pop star in the world because she's doing something so crazy. And I said, she's not really doing anything special because she's putting in effort. And because Taylor Swift has been the model pop star for the past 10 years, you guys forget what effort actually looks like. Taylor Swift fans are delusional. And I'll say that with my full chest because in that video I said, Taylor Swift is not a pop star by any means comparable to her peers and comparable to who the white girlies were. The Christinas, the Britneys, Lady Gaga even, Mandy Moore, Jessica Simpson, Pink. Pink damn near does a Cirque du Soleil show every fucking concert. The list goes, there's several prototypes that you can put up there that would be what a pop star is. I also said pop stars were triple threats. They could sing, they can dance, they could act, they could model, they could do any of the things that is no longer required based on the way we consume media, based on generational things, and just based on Taylor Swift not being that girl. You guys get so triggered when someone says that Taylor Swift is basic and mediocre. That does not mean she's not talented. You guys take those two adjectives and think that that's a dig or we're hating on her. You saying you're a person of color lets me know you're not black. The issue is that the way you guys hold that girl up on a pedestal.
Beyonce is not shit in comparison to Taylor Swift.
It's vocally better than Beyonce.
100%.
I can't stand Beyonce. I just want to throw up.
Beyonce is a bit overrated. She could be better.
Hey, Beyonce. I don't like Beyonce that much.
You don't like Beyonce?
Yeah, I don't like
What about her?
I just don't really like her music that much.
I can agree with that. She's very overhyped.
Why
would she say that?
It is told to us as children by our parents. We have to be the best of the best of the best. Go out into the world and be your best, look your best, talk your best, because we have to work 10 times as hard to compete with mediocrity from white people because you guys control the systems in place. That being said, Beyonce is one of the best performers alive and a living legend still performing, and probably one of the best performers of all time. Comparing Taylor Swift to the white girls of my time, she cannot dance, she barely performs well on stage, but you guys love her for her lyricism and her albums and her tour, yada, 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 whatever. Somebody critiquing her is not taking away her success or taking away her talent. Taylor Swift basically is mediocre. She's basic. There's nothing wrong with being basic. Majority of the world is basic. And you guys love her because you see yourself in her. Doesn't change the fact that she's basic. There's no Britneys of this generation. Tate McRae is the closest thing we have, and it's still off. So the fact that you guys make all these comments on my video, which was just basically comparing Tate McRae to the earlier pop stars of the late 90s and early 2000s, why do you think that means someone hates Taylor or we have smoke for Taylor? No, we're just saying we have to work 10 times the amount of you just to be compared to someone mediocre, and then you guys, not us, you guys compare Taylor Swift to all the pop stars. You compare her to Beyonce constantly by saying Beyonce's overrated, Beyonce can't perform, Taylor's better. In what universe is Taylor Swift any realm of Beyonce on stage? I don't care if you don't like her music. I don't care if you don't like her. You cannot compare the two. So when a person of color, more specifically a black person, says that Taylor Swift is basic and mediocre and we don't get it because we are operating under the guise that we know white greatness. I know white greatness. I grew up with white artists having a full range from alt rock to country to indie to pop. And they were those fucking people. And we knew all the music. We knew all the songs. And this is why I'll always say to you, not a single black person will ever come online and say Lady Gaga's overrated. You know why? Because Lady Gaga is that fucking girl. She sings, she dances, she plays instruments, she writes her music, she has a point of view, she has costumes, she acts. What are we talking about? You guys need to come down to reality and understand the conversation that's being had. Because right now, you guys are in this comment section pulling shit out of thin air. Stay blessed.
What's an unpopular opinion you have?
I am fully prepared to get a lot of hate for this, but I know that I am not the only one that feels this way. Taylor Swift is overrated. Don't get me wrong, I have mad respect for the girl. She writes all of her own music, she puts on a good show, but most of the albums she puts out put me to sleep. It honestly still boggles my mind that she literally broke the internet with this past tour's pre-sale. Not only that, but people are literally paying like Super Bowl price tickets to go see her live. I just don't understand the hype.
Taylor Swift just took part in an SNL skit making fun of her exes, Joe Alwyn and Maddie Healy. So Taylor Swift and her new accessory, Travis Kelce, NFL Super Bowl champion, were in New York for a sexy little night out. So they decided to stop by Saturday Night Live to support Taylor's best friend, Ice Spice. That sentence sounds like a fucking Mad Lib. And Taylor had the opportunity to do the absolute craziest thing possible, and she took it. She consented to and probably wrote this SNL skit mocking the absolute mania around her and Travis's new budding and blossoming romance that has completely distracted from the real purpose of the NFL, hockey. But the craziest part is when the men start dissecting her past exes like Joe Alwyn and Maddie Healy, and now we know Taylor Swift was in the crowd watching them roast the fuck out of them.
Hey, I'm just glad it's not Maddie Healy. Oh, don't say that name, no! Karma's not about Joe! Are you insane? Not everything has to be about Joe! It was a formative relationship! He didn't say it wasn't!
Eating her ketchup and seemingly ranch and loving it. And then the craziest part is that she let Travis Kelce be a part of it.
I want to speak with someone who actually wants to talk football. Yes, please!
Taylor Swift is fresh out of Fox. She left all her fucks in London the last time she saw Joe, and she never went back to get them. Cause clearly Joe Alwyn gave enough fucks for both of them. Remember when we were like, no, Dad, Joe, come back, we miss you. And now we have Travis and we're like, wait, we were starving until we had Travis. And bringing this back to SNL, Taylor Swift inviting some media speculation and outside viewership into her love life is kind of who she is at her core.
You might think I'd bring up Joe, that guy who broke up with me on the phone, but I'm not gonna mention him. la la la. And if you're wondering if I might be dating the werewolf from Twilight.
Maybe Joe was a fun sucker, but to me, Taylor knows we love this. She's our queen, and she loves her adoring subjects, and that's why her reign will continue.
I literally hate Taylor Swift fans because she could just write a song like, dark jeans, long hair, and a leather jacket. He knew how to steal a heart like an old school bandit. I wanted his forever, and I almost had it, till they left me with the ring by the road stranded. I wore high heels till they let me down. Word spread like fire around this little town. Everybody knows his rep cause he's been around. Well, he never gets found. Oh, his name's on my breath. He don't know what hit him yet. I wrote the writing on the wall. Wanna know what it says? I want him dead or alive. I want him dead or alive. He better run, but he can't hide. I want him dead. I want him dead. I want him dead or alive.
What we haven't done in a while? What? Driven around with the top down and harassed people.
My friends are extremely supportive. I hang out with them as much as possible. When I'm not working, I'm with them.
So when are you not working?
They know all the words to my songs. They really just support me as a person and as an artist. They're all just beautiful to me, and I love them.
Her dreams of being a country music artist are very realistic, and she's just so close right now.
I met Abigail freshman year. I walked into first period English class.
I didn't know she was a country music singer. I didn't know any of that, and I remember we were assigned an essay, and I thought mine was good. Some other girls thought theirs was good, and they couldn't wait to read theirs. And then when Taylor wrote hers, we were just blown away.
I hear some like country music stars right now that I think she's got a better voice and has more potential than they do.
Is it? Which one is it? Explain it to me. Is Taylor the smartest, most talented, genius musician who's ever lived? Or is she a big, dumb, helpless, defenseless baby who's just at the whims of all the men in her life? You cannot, like, if you even attempt to argue, well, you can't. You cannot argue with a Swiftie because nothing they say makes sense. They contradict themselves every 5 seconds. It's like the hypocrite in them has recognized the hypocrite in her. She's an adult. She's a big, old, grown adult. So if she's a genius, like you guys say, look at her, she's a genius. She became a billionaire. Then she knows what she's doing. If she's a genius, then she knows that she's hanging out with Yahtzees and she's acting like a Yahtzee and partying with Yahtzees. It can't be both. She can't be this genius, powerful girl boss and also be a helpless, defenseless baby. And let's also be totally honest. Taylor Swift has never had a gun against her head for any of this terrible stuff she's done. No one's forcing her to hang out with terrible people. That is a choice she's making as a big-ass grown adult. So you Swifties, you can stop trying to infantilize her 10, 20, 30 different ways in the comments because I'm not an idiot. I know that she's a grown, adult, tall, skinny, white woman. And I know the people she's bullied and I know who she is. An adult who chooses to be a bad person. Thanks for coming to this TED Talk.
5 years ago today, a Swiftie spoiled the ending of Avengers Endgame on Twitter because people were being so mean about Taylor Swift releasing Me that they felt like they had to intervene and hit back at all of the haters by saying, since y'all want to be assholes for Taylor, Iron Man dies in the end of Endgame, and I'm not even joking. April 26, 2019, Avengers Endgame was released the same day as Taylor Swift's lead single from her album Lover, which was Me, featuring Brendan Urie. And of course, if you were a Swiftie at this time, like I was, we were fighting for our lives, trying to defend this single. But the general public was just not here for it, and that is why this Swiftie had to really intervene and tweet this. And it will go down in history, I think, honestly.
I'm really glad someone asked me why I don't like Taylor Swift, because so many people hate her for like misogynistic reasons. I hate her for very valid reasons. First of all, your fave is a predator. There's no other way to get around it. Your fave is a predator. I am 19 turning 20, and I would never in a million years think about touching a 17-year-old with a 10-foot pole in a romantic way. That is insane. But when Taylor was a little bit older than I am, she dated a 17-year-old Taylor Lautner. Surprise, surprise. And if that's not enough, you're like, 20 and 17 is not that bad. Yes, it is. You're sick. Stay away from kids. But if that's not that bad to you, when she was 22, she dated another 17-year-old. And if you want to go with the, oh, he was 18 when they dated. They were seen at his 18th birthday party. She probably groomed him. But either way, 22 and 18 is not a normal age gap either. You do not go from a minor that is able to be groomed to an adult who is completely consenting and able to be with adults who know better in a day difference. That doesn't happen. People focus so much more on the legality versus morality when it's immoral as fuck. Especially as a rich, famous white woman, you could have gotten anybody, but you went for the kids. You went for the kids. And if that's not enough, if you're like 22 and 18 is a perfectly reasonable age gap, I beg to differ. Anyone that I know that is over 20 is not going to go with an 18-year-old because to them, an 18-year-old is like, they just got out of high school. Like 18 is like, you're entering adulthood. 22, you've been here. You're doing your thing already. So if that's not enough for you, at 23, she dated another 18-year-old. Why? Why? For fact-checking purposes, the 18-year-old was Harry Styles and the 17-year-old was Connor Kennedy. Also, I'm just going to get it out of the way. She dated Matt Healy. If you're associating with racists, what does that make you? She's also already the epitome of white woman feminism. She does like no intersectional feminist work whatsoever. It is very much like girl power. Well, women of color are like continuing being pushed down. But she's open about having like a conservative past or whatever. So it's like, to me, it makes sense that carried over into her not understanding the depths of like her liberalism now. But you can tell when she's doing things for brownie points, and most of the feminist shit she's doing is for brownie points. And like, I love Ice Spice. I love Ice Spice. You cannot tell me that she did not feature Ice Spice because of the Matt Healy controversy and everybody calling her racist. You cannot tell me otherwise. This girl is smart. Taylor is smart. She knows what she's doing. But yeah, no. That's why I don't like her. She's a racist predator. And I think that makes her very overrated because she sounds like any other indie artist. Her old stuff is good, but I refuse to listen to Taylor's version.
Without any hate filling my comment section, can we genuinely talk about how much Taylor Swift sucks? She sucks. Her music sucks. Genuinely listen to her lyrics. They suck. Her fans, no offense, are crazy and they suck. She has no value to our society. She kills our earth. She does not give a damn about minorities or people of color or anything of the sort in that general term, like topic. She doesn't care about anybody but herself and her relationship. She sucks. She genuinely, from the deepest part of my heart and on this earth, sucks. She's not a great role model. And what the hell do you mean? She's been through a lot of dick. Like, shut up. And not shaming. I'm not shaming. I'm just quoting a movie. But really, she sucks. And I'm not sorry. I'd also like to add she only cares about defending and making a difference for people that look like her. End of story. Her feminism is only for people that look like her. Goodbye.
Yeah, keep going.
Lana Del Rey.
I've watched as one of my favorite artists of this decade, Lana Del Rey, was ruthlessly criticized. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. We have similar tastes. I like it. She was ruthlessly criticized in her early career, and then slowly but surely she turned into, in my opinion, the most influential artist in pop. Her vocal stylings, her lyrics, her aesthetics, they've been echoed and repurposed in every corner of music, whose work I absolutely love. I see it in Lizzo, Rosalia, Taylor Parks, Hayley Kiyoko, King Princess, Camila Cabello, Halsey, Megan Thee Stallion, Princess Nokia, Nina Nesbitt, Sigrid, Normani, Her, Maggie Rogers, Becky G, Dua Lipa, Ella Mai, Billie Eilish. An 11-year-old girl in California really was taking piano lessons and really was in a girls' choir. And this year, she has been named Woman of the Year at the age of 17. Her name is Billie.
Thank y'all so much. You know, I've had a single out now for about a month. I'm gonna give y'all a little project.
There's this radio station called KZLA, and I really want them to play my song, more than you have any idea. So I want each and every one of you to call them up like 5 times a day and tell them you want to hear a song called Tim McGraw by this girl named Taylor Swift. Please. This is called Tim McGraw.
In 10 years, I will be
32 and whoa, that's such a hard question.
Really?
It's like all my fears come out.
Like what?
Like losing everything, like losing my friends and my family and like ending up alone and crying and stuff.
Let's take a more positive approach.
In 10 years, I will hopefully know either have a family or know when I want to have one or something.
And professionally?
I have no idea. I just really don't want to do this after people get tired of me. I want to know when that line is. And if I overstay my welcome, I'll go write songs for other people.
And still focus on being happy.
Yeah, I really want to end up happy. That's the biggest thing for me.
Taylor Swift is and will always be a white woman with white woman privileges. And she honestly only ever looks out for herself. And before anyone comes for me, I genuinely don't care because I have always felt this way about Taylor. I've never been a fan of hers from day dot. I have seen through those crocodile tears and she does not get a pass from me, period. I'm not saying this because I don't like her. I'm not saying this because I don't think that women shouldn't win. I am all about a woman getting her bag, especially when she's in a male-dominated field. However, if you hold that much power, that much influence, and you stay silent on the things that matter, yeah, you're showing us exactly where your values lie. And it's not just the silence. She surrounds herself day in and day out with people who openly support Trump and still calls them friends. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about politics for a second, okay? I find it very, very funny that Taylor Swift only endorses a president after she's been bullied into it. So, for example, Trump calls her a freaking cat lady. Boo fucking who. But suddenly she's on the Kamala train. She's got something to say about it. Cute. That's not courage. Yeah, no, that's called self-preservation. Meanwhile, immigrant families, yeah, they're being torn apart. LGBTQ plus rights are under attack. Women are fighting. Women are fighting for reproductive freedom. And there's a genocide happening in Gaza. And what do we get from her, right? What have you heard from Taylor? Yeah, nothing. Silence. But on the flip side, when it's time for her to drop the 15th version of the same fucking album she's been singing about, that she's been writing about since she was basically in middle school, she is front and center. Her fans aren't just suburban teens, okay? They're immigrants. They're queer folks. They're black and brown fans. Hello? People spending their hard-earned cash, their money on her expensive ass tickets, her merch, her brand. And you're telling me she can't even use a fraction of her voice or her billions to stand with them. Here's what I don't get. Why do liberal Taylor Swift fans give her a pass? Like, yes, she's a public figure. And no, that doesn't allow us every inch of her personal life. But then how do you explain her getting onto her boyfriend's podcast for 2 fucking hours and talking about bread? Okay, like you want to share that, but you don't want to share anything else? Nothing else for the class? You don't have time to acknowledge that the world around us is burning the fuck down? There are no such thing as ethical billionaires. I get that. But if you can use your voice for profit, you can also use it for justice, for your fans, for the people that you claim to love so much. And I know this is a spicier post than I usually would put out there. Most days, I really do like to just lead with positivity, with fun, with bookish, being empowering. But sometimes, yeah, no, sometimes you've just got to name the thing, all right? And today, the thing is that Taylor Swift does not get a pass. Doesn't get one from me, and she should not get one from you.
So, I have a story to tell. It's about Taylor Swift, Kristen Juszczyk, and some women at the 49ers game just before Thanksgiving. Back in November, my boyfriend's brother came out to see us. It's gonna be his first ever NFL game. He's a Bucs fan. We went to the 49ers versus Bucs game the weekend before Thanksgiving. We decided to splurge on our seats, sitting in the 501 club, figuring it was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. There were 3 women sitting behind us. They could not stop talking. Gossiping would be a better term. The whole game. They were complaining about having to cook for 12 people at their Thanksgiving dinner. They wouldn't mind paying $120 a plate for a private chef, but just can't find one available on such short notice. Talking all kinds of shit on players' wives, pointing out who was who. Turns out the head coach's wife and daughter were just 2 rows ahead of us. Some players' wives were around us, but most of what they had to say was just awful. They're sitting behind us. They gave off enough personal information for me to be able to find them on social media. Turns out they are
an assistant coach's wife and junior defensive coordinator or offensive strategist fiance. And I'm just like, oh my God, are we gonna have to listen to this the whole time? These two grown-ass adult women acting like they're in 9th grade and we're sitting in the bleachers at my high school football game. Why can't I be sitting in front of George Kittle's wife? Tell her, hey, your husband's so cool, so fun to watch. Tell him thanks for being so entertaining for us. But no. So this woman and her friends come walking up into the 501 club. One girl turns to the other and she goes, oh, that's so-and-so's wife. She makes her own clothes and wears them to the games. And I look and I see like the beautiful woman wearing cool Niners gear, and I'm like, I wish I could get that. It's pretty cool. How supportive. What a neat partnership they have, that she makes her own clothes to support her husband on the field and gets all excited. Like, that's great. Why are we talking shit on this person? I didn't hear who it was. It's just another anecdote. I turned to my boyfriend and tell him about, like, oh, these girls are so mean. So fast forward 2 months. This past weekend, we're watching the freezing cold Chiefs game. Taylor Swift is there, obviously. She's sitting by Brittany Mahomes, and they're wearing matching jackets. The commentators on ESPN say Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes are wearing these jackets that actually Kyle Juszczyk's wife, Kristen, made for them. How cool is that? And I turned to my boyfriend, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Imagine designing something that Taylor Swift wears. Plus those look so cozy. I want one. That's so cool. We note that, move on. This morning, I'm laying in bed. I have this realization. Oh my God, I saw Kristen Juszczyk at the Niners game. Those girls behind me were talking shit about Kristen Juszczyk. How perfect. Karma. How do they feel now that Taylor Swift is wearing Kristen Juszczyk and they had all the shit to say about her before? Those girls are eating their words.
Why do you think people hate Taylor Swift?
There's two angles to that. First of all, there are very legitimate criticisms to have of Taylor Swift. I think like her carbon emissions. I saw that she was flying a private jet on her tour. That took like 20 minutes to drive.
Just like the culmination of our culture just kind of being towards like hating on women. Maybe those are probably where the issue lies.
There's definitely some subtle misogyny, sometimes not so subtle. I think all the people who are complaining about Taylor Swift ruined football, I definitely think there's some misogyny behind that.
I personally love Taylor Swift. I just think people don't like to see her successful and happy, honestly.
Now tell us about you. You're from?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
And you've been singing for how long? About a week now?
This kind of music about 2 years.
Okay, so you're going to be a country girl, are you?
Yep.
All right. You've got a good country girl in the making here, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to do what for us?
Big Deal, Rhymes.
Big Deal by Leanne Rhymes. Why don't you take this microphone? Only 11 years old, ladies and gentlemen. I remember when I was 11 years old. I couldn't even find my shoes. You still have a problem with that. Okay, here you go. Take this mic.
Here's something we need to talk about. If Taylor Swift is as feminist as her fans want her to be, she would have already came to Kayla Nicole's defense, told her fans to stop bullying. She would have said something when the people were talking about how, you know, Selena Gomez and her were talking shit about, you know, Kylie Jenner. I'm sorry, my nipple. Like, if you really are a girl's girl, you know that anyone who calls you not a girl's girl, it's an immediate insult and you want to defend yourself. You're like, oh my God, stop bullying the other girl just because like I'm with her boyfriend, like we've moved on, right? Stop bullying Kylie Jenner because maybe she said no to a picture or whatever it was. Like, you're just letting all these people fly and say whatever they want about whatever situation, and you're not defending the other girls. Weird. I feel like that's...
I don't know about you guys, but I've never liked Taylor Swift, and I don't like her more now than I did back then. Why? I'll tell you, because she is one of the most powerful and influential women across this fucking globe. And she hasn't said shit about the Gaza genocide, although she's a proclaimed feminist and she cares so much about the abuse of children and what is right and what is wrong. The woman that uses feminism to tell people that they can't be mean to her, but she doesn't care about the women in Gaza that don't even have sanitary pads for their fucking periods while they're being bombed at. The same woman that could have chosen to keep her screening of the Eras Tour unavailable in Israel, but kept it going anyways. The same woman that was applauded and loved simply for showing up to a Palestinian comedy show when she's actually said nothing in support of Palestine. Point is, anytime I hear a Taylor Swift song now, I roll my eyes in absolute disgust. One of my friends posted something to a Taylor Swift song, and that was enough for me to just be like, oh, You still support her? Damn.
Taylor Swift is being accused of purposely releasing her special deluxe editions just while Billie is releasing her album to take the #1 spot. And yes, I said accused. Once again, this is not a fact. This is just what people are saying, but it's being heavily applied, especially by Billie fans, that this is what Taylor did. It also doesn't help that Billie's own manager has been liking and unliking a lot of like hateful Taylor tweets. He liked this one. This one basically says Taylor Swift breaking her neck, doing everything to prevent other artists from shining. Of course, it has her going up against Katy Perry, her against SZA, and now her against Billie. Taylor Swift kind of always releases a lot of special editions, things like that, like throughout her career. I don't know if she's doing this on purpose. Would I be surprised if she is? No, I wouldn't. Now, back in, I believe it was April, Billie Eilish did an interview where she was basically kind of throwing shade. A lot of people thought that she was throwing shade at Taylor. She was talking about how wasteful it is to continuously make like all the different packaging, different vinyls, you know, just for like sales and stuff. And she was talking about how frustrated she was. Even though her herself has also done the same thing, so it kind of made her look like a hypocrite. But anyway, everyone assumed that she was talking about Taylor. And then jump to not too long ago, she also said this: doing a 3-hour show, that's literally psychotic. Nobody wants that. You guys don't want that. I don't want that. I don't even want that as a fan. Even my favorite artists, I'm not trying to hear them for 3 hours. That's far too long. That's literally psychotic. The only artists right now that are kind of having 3-hour shows are Taylor and Beyonce. I don't think she's throwing shade at Beyonce. I think this is towards Taylor. I didn't want to believe that she was taking shots, but along with her manager liking all those tweets, it's clearly about Taylor. I don't know why Billie is doing this. Why put down or criticize how other artists are handling their own situations? It has nothing to do with you. No one's forcing you to do a 3-hour show. If Taylor or other artists want to do a 3-hour show, that's their business. And yes, their fans do want a 3-hour show. If I'm going to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, airfare, hotel, food, just to see my favorite artist, I want my money's worth. So just because Billie doesn't want a 3-hour show doesn't mean that other people's fans don't want a 3-hour show. They probably do. I understand the frustration of Billie Eilish. I mean, a lot of things have gone wrong in this era. A couple months ago, like her track list was leaked and the cover album was leaked. So I think she is just frustrated. But if you're going to take swings at a huge artist such as Taylor, you can't be confused when they swing back. I feel like when people come at Taylor, like especially like her work ethic or like her career, she's going to attack in any way she wants. You know, if a man talks shit, she owes him nothing. Taylor is the mastermind. She's gonna hit back. You can't just take swings at people, especially like Taylor. Taylor will write an entire album just to ruin your life. Like, she has no problem doing that. Billie is an amazing artist. You don't need to keep taking swings at people and criticize what other people are doing. Who cares? It doesn't have anything to do with you, and it doesn't take away any of your brilliance or artistry. Like, keep doing you, but you don't have to keep criticizing people. Who cares if they want to put millions of vinyls out? Who cares if they want to do a 3-hour show? That's their business. That's what their fans want, and their fans are going to pay for it. No one's forcing anyone to go to that concert or buy those albums. Those fans want to do it. So it doesn't have anything to do with you. And as much as I love Taylor, I do wish she would sometimes let things go. But the whole thing with Billie's manager, like, no, like, calm the hell down.
So Taylor Swift was recently seen hanging out with the Bussin' With The Boys podcast bros. For those who aren't aware, the Bussin' With The Bros boys are very pro-Trump. In fact, they were part of the podcast so-called Manosphere, which many see as very influential in getting Trump elected. In fact, the CEO of UFC actually thanked them for their efforts in this area.
I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nell Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' With The Boys.
In fact, they even got a Trump handshake. Before you say Taylor takes pictures with loads of people, she probably doesn't even know who they are. One of the guys from that podcast said that she actually asked them to hit that pose because Bussin' With The Boys is her favourite podcast. Travis actually went on their podcast recently. Taylor Swift herself was vocal about her support for Kamala Harris in the last presidential election, so her boyfriend going on their podcast, her hanging out with them, seems to me to be a concerted effort to reach across the aisle and recapture some of her conservative supporters that she might have lost or alienated slightly due to her endorsement of Kamala. We all know that Taylor is an excellent businesswoman, and this is good business. I do find it interesting though that people drag influencers for shopping at the wrong shops, but Taylor hanging out with MAGA people has sparked little to no backlash. Of course, conventional wisdom used to be that it's fine to hang out with people with different political views to your own, but with the advent of MAGA, that conventional wisdom seems to no longer hold. I personally would find it difficult to hang out with people who support a person who said this about me, but perhaps Taylor has entered a new magnanimous phase. What do you guys think about Taylor making peace with MAGA?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but too many of y'all are actually cruel, miserable, mean people. And I say this as a reformed mean girl. I don't say mean girl with pride. I don't say it jokingly. I say it with a lot of shame. I feel like I'm still working years later to make up for the way I treated people during that. And the reason I treated people so badly is because I hated myself. I hated everything about me. I didn't want to come to terms with being a lesbian. I didn't want to come to terms with having interests that I was embarrassed about. So I lashed out at other people. I made fun of their interests, how they dressed, how they acted. No one cares if you don't like the way someone else looks. No one cares if you don't like someone else's interest. Be normal. Leave them alone. Grow up. Genuinely, the internet has made so many of y'all so cruel. And the amount of self-pity I see from these people is insane. Like, don't go around saying cruel things in people's comment sections and then reposting things like, I wish I had more friends. Like, be nice then. Be nice.
I hate to be the one to say this, but I just don't see the hype about Taylor Swift. Me personally, I just think she's a terrible artist all around. Music, bad. And I feel like she's an industry plant too, like the biggest industry plant ever. Alright, so now that I got your attention, and half of you probably typing a whole paragraph right now, I was lying my ass off. I want to show y'all this beat I made for her.
People are not misogynist because they don't like Taylor Swift. There's this girl going around the For You page talking about you could tell somebody's a misogynist based on the reason as to why they don't like Taylor Swift. And she was like, well, if people just say they don't like Taylor Swift because she's annoying or she writes too many love songs, they're probably a misogynist. Or maybe she's fucking annoying. She might just be to some people, like, it is what it is. But I can tell you why I don't like Taylor Swift. One, she represents something that she's not, right? She shows herself to be this feminist, this person who cares about women. You know, she's a girl's, but she's not. I've never seen this woman cater to a movement that did not directly impact her and her money. Taylor Swift is a good example and representation as to why we have words like white feminism. We literally have to go and talk about stories of women of color facing different atrocities and problems than white women, because white women in feminism often neglect to talk about our side, and Taylor Swift is a great representation of that. Now, this is not necessarily Taylor's fault, but that one guy came on here on TikTok and said that she was bigger than Michael Jackson. That shit pissed me off, bro. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? I like Taylor Swift way less than I didn't like her before. And finally, my last reason for not liking Taylor Swift is because I'm envious of rich people. I don't even want their money. I just want rich people to be poor. But like, be fucking for real. People are not misogynistic just because they don't like Taylor Swift. She's an infamous artist for a reason. A lot of people don't like her just because she's probably really fucking annoying. And I'm telling you this as a person that has 4 of her songs in my Apple Music, because they were bangers. But I also don't have respect for what she did in the Gaza situation either. She's clearly choosing her side, and she's choosing to be a rich white woman, which is never the example of feminism in my eye, because I'm quite the opposite.
Taylor Swift uses feminism to tell people they can't be mean to her instead of using it for its actual purpose.
Okay, listen, I am so here for this take because Taylor Swift has a history of this. Like, beyond Maddie Healy, beyond Ice Spice, like, this type of behavior of Taylor Swift weaponizing feminism against people who criticize her or make jokes at her expense or, you know, anything like that, and the way that she weaponizes her fan base in the name of feminism is something that Taylor Swift has a very, very long history of doing. For those who don't remember, back in like 2012, 2013, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey hosted the Golden Globes. And during their sort of monologue, you know, they kind of poke fun at different celebrities in the audience. And they made like a boyfriend joke about Taylor Swift, like during that monologue. And it was kind of like a short little throwaway, haha kind of joke. But then Taylor Swift came out and said, there's a special place in hell for women who don't support women, talking about Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Two very loud, very prominent, very active feminists who like put their money where their mouth is as far as feminism is concerned. And both Tina Fey and Amy Poehler had to come out and be kind of like, okay, like, sorry, I guess. Like, you know, they're both like, oh, well, we're sorry that her feelings were hurt. You know, we thought it was just kind of like, you know, a lighthearted joke, but, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are going to be like the adults in the room. And you may say to yourself, okay, well, like, that was like 2012, 2013. That's been like a long time. You know, she was really young back then. She's changed. Okay, but then this happened in 2021, okay? Like, there was this show, Ginny and Georgia, and in the show, there was like a joke that was made. And the joke was like, you know, blah, 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 so-and-so's going through men faster than Taylor Swift. And Taylor did not like that joke. She sure didn't. And she came out with this tweet, basically like calling out the show, whatever. And this is, again, like a really good example of how Taylor Swift weaponizes her fan base. And if there's one thing we know about Swifties, it's that they're always going to go to the mat. They're always going to go to the most extreme. They're always going to find some way to incorporate some type of like violent, racist rhetoric. Like, that is just their MO. And that's exactly what happened to this actress who is a woman of color, who is the actress who delivered the line. She is not the producer of the show. She is not the writer of the show. She is not the director of the show. She is an actress doing a job, delivering a line that was given to her. And the Taylor Swift fan base like attacked her, like almost like chased her off the internet, basically. And one thing you might have noticed is that Taylor Swift very often weaponizes feminism against other women. You know, like, she wants to sort of create like a litmus test of like who's the most feminist, right? And it's never about, you know, her examining her own feminism, about her own activism, about, you know, what she's doing. It's always about her pointing the finger at other people who are doing things that she thinks that like hurt her feelings. And this is why I say that Taylor Swift is like, has like arrested development. She is like a perpetual adolescent because she very much has like a very middle school understanding of feminism.
Oh my God, did anyone else not know this? I just saw a TikTok that was saying that Taylor Swift's Look What You Made Me Do was sampled from that one song in Mean Girls, literally because Katy Perry once tweeted referencing Taylor Swift as Regina George. So for Look What You Made Me Do, she gets this song that was from Mean Girls during the Halloween scene. Do you hear that? That is Operate from Mean Girls, okay? And then this is Taylor Swift's Look What You Made Me Do.
Said the gun was mine. Isn't cool. No, I don't like you. But I got smarter.
Okay, like it's this song I'm speeding up.
When the coagulates, I got harder in the nick of time. Honey, I will.
I didn't give this album enough credit, and like maybe I'm the only one who doesn't know this. This TikTok wasn't that, I couldn't duet it, but holy shit, oh my god, she's crazy.
The first thing I started to do, my parents say, I used to come home from Disney movies and I'd be singing the words to the songs that I had heard once in the movie, but I had changed the lyrics to my own. My parents kind of say to each other, that's not the words of the song, is it? They go, well, that's the melody of the song, but she's changing the words.
I love my darling. Oh, I just can't wait to be king.
I've been a hardcore Taylor Swift fan since 2006, but I will not be supporting her new album because of her refusal to use her platform in any progressive way. Taylor has capitalized off of activism only when it is convenient for her. I admit I used to get very defensive when people accused her of being a white feminist, but honestly, where's the lie? The definition of white feminism is centering the experiences and priorities of white women, often at the expense of black and brown women. Taylor made the decision to speak up for the first time in her 2020 film, Miss Americana, after facing a personal threat to the possibility of another Trump presidency. She publicly condemned Trump and encouraged people to vote, which led to a surge in both voter registration and participation. But where has she been since then? Yes, I know she's been touring. I know she's been going through some difficult social situations, but that does not excuse silence. She made a queer anthem a couple of years ago, but has been utterly silent on the thousands of pieces of legislation that pose a direct threat to queer and trans youth. And I don't know if y'all have heard, but there has been a genocide in Gaza for the last 2 years. Oh, and the United States is rapidly falling into a fascist regime. And what is Taylor doing? Dropping an album in the midst of it all. Obviously, we cannot place sole responsibility on Taylor Swift. The overarching theme of our outrage extends to all celebrities with large platforms who have been silent. And you can't tell me that their voices don't matter. Up until very recently, people's lives were quite literally ruined for saying Free Palestine. Speaking out against Zionism was a huge gamble. And today we're seeing an outcry against the famine in Gaza by people who are finally seeing the writing on the wall. Why is that happening? Why are more people speaking up? Because it's been normalized at this point. And that's why Zionists are also freaking the fuck out. So yeah, I feel incredibly alienated from a huge source of my joy. Taylor's actions have been heavily misaligned with my values. So my choice to step away from her fandom is not cancel culture, it's a result of feeling alienated for the last 2 years. And if I, a white person, feel a sense of alienation by all of this, imagine how black and brown people have been feeling.
A few days ago, I encouraged everyone to read a Daily Beast article about tree pain. There's another article in the Daily Beast out today that you don't need to read. According to Coleman Spildy, 2023 was the year that Taylor Swift became insufferable. You've seen this film before. It's the one where a woman reaches a high level of success and a man tries to tear her down. The article is also part of a Swift-specific cycle of backlash where Taylor levels up in popularity and exposure, and then journalists write contrarian pick-me hit pieces about how she's destroying humanity, culture, or whatever. In the article, Spildy mentions that he became a Swiftie at the age of 14 in the Fearless era. And then he became disillusioned in the Reputation era because of Taylor's self-obsession. He mentions this to leverage his teenage fandom as a source of legitimacy for his current criticism. In the article, he referred to the Speak Now and 1989 vault tracks as massive disappointments, and he called Midnight's sonically tepid. And from this, I get the sense that Spildy is frustrated that Taylor has matured as a celebrity and a performer, but he's still stuck in 2009. That's my take on what's going on here psychologically, along with the obvious sexism, of course. Anyway, I hope I've given you enough of a summary so that you don't feel the need to click on this miserable article. Happy New Year!
There's so many videos in this app about what Taylor Swift said at the podcast with the Kelsey brothers. Well, about something about energy, and people act like this is like Gandhi. Gandhi came and told us something like groundbreaking. Like your energy is important and you shouldn't be wasting Taylor Swift. Like what is like? Is that groundbreaking to you? That your energy? You waited for Taylor Swift to tell you that your energy is very important and who you shouldn't be wasting it. Taylor Swift is so cringe. Travis Kelce is cringe as fuck too. They're both like, oh, I can't. Anything they say, if they say your energy is precious, I go the other way. I'm like, oh, I should waste my energy. And his brother, Travis Kelce's brother, he's going out dyeing his beard. That guy and his wife that they pretend like they hate attention and can't believe the limelight is on us and we can't. And they're just eating it. They love that shit. They love that shit. That guy loves attention like crazy. It's like the whole thing is just like so cringe. All of them. They're like, ew. Not for me at all. Taylor Swift is, I can't stand her. Her music, the things she says, they pretending that she's a feminist, and she's like, it's just the whole thing. It's just so cringe.
I hate Taylor Swift, not because of her music. I met her one time at Waffle House in 2015 because she sat at my table and she was being so cool at first, and then she orders a grilled cheese sandwich, right? And I was like, hey, so we actually don't sell grilled cheese sandwiches, because in 2015 Waffle House did not have a grilled cheese sandwich, but Denny's had a grilled cheese sandwich with mozzarella sticks that they make. And so she was like, I've definitely had a grilled cheese sandwich here before. And I was like, so you might be either thinking about a patty melt or the grilled cheese sandwich at Denny's. And she was like, if that's the case, then make this a Denny's, idiot. She throws a wad of cash in my face and she spits in my mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was a lie. But I keep getting videos on my For You page of her Era Tour, and I'm hoping this will fix the algorithm.
One of the really shitty things about stan culture is that stans do not see their favorite pop stars as corporations, and that's really what they function as the vast majority of the time. Like Taylor Swift, when she releases music, she is a business. That is what Sabrina Carpenter is doing as well. Like, don't get me wrong, these women are being vulnerable with their art and putting themselves out there, but like, they're not really commenting on the times with their music. They're just talking about their exes and their own personal love lives, and there's not anything necessarily wrong with that. But when you view it in that lens of they're doing this thing that has always worked for them and they're just following the money, which is clearly what they're doing, then it becomes a conversation not of should Taylor Swift be releasing an album at this point in time. It needs to be Taylor Swift, the corporation, is obviously going to release a product right now. You, the consumer, need to be deciding what to do with your dollar, because your dollar is one of the most powerful forms of power that you have. It is an asset, a lot like your attention. So it's like, okay, if you don't like that Taylor Swift isn't talking about Palestine, if you don't like that she has nothing to say about Trump, and that she's in fact hanging out with Trump supporters and white supremacists, and she has no problem with that, she seemingly has no backbone, then it's not Taylor Swift's responsibility to not release an album, because again, she functions as a corporation when she releases music. It is your responsibility to stop consuming the music. Like, it just seems silly to me that there's a split between the white girls right now. They're all like, this is my joy, this is my resistance on one side, and then on the other side they're like, oh my God, Taylor Swift is a fake feminist, she's a fake activist. And it's like, well, duh. At a certain point, it's like, okay, if this was any other billion-dollar corporation, like Target, for instance, we boycott their ass. Like, we're not all gonna sit around and make a billion more videos about Target for like the next 3 months to them leading some type of event or product launch, just giving them all that free press and promo. Instead, you're gonna take your dollar elsewhere. Taylor Swift runs like a corporation. Sabrina Carpenter is following in her footsteps. That's why I'm not listening to Man's Best Friend. You fuck around, you find out. Put your money where your mouth is. Instead of firing off your mouth, take back your cash, take back your attention. These celebrities don't actually owe us anything. They have no backbone. Our attention and our money is what's making them powerful. So it's not actually that Taylor Swift has any power over you, that she has more power than you per se. You are giving her your power. That's what people don't understand. Take your power back from Taylor Swift by being like, actually, no, I don't want the life of a showgirl right now. I want basic human rights. I want an end to a fucking genocide, you know? And put your energy into those things instead of being disappointed with this white woman who has clearly never given a fuck about anything more than her billions of dollars.
I can already feel myself regretting making this video. If 10 people are sitting at a table and one of them is a Nazi and the other 9 people are not telling the Nazi to fuck off, then you're at a table with 10 Nazis. When Taylor Swift first started dating Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce was so open about his respect for Donald Trump, I already knew we were reaching the beginning of the end, right? When she was posting photos with other like NFL wives and girlfriends or whatever, and they were all open MAGAs and Taylor was happily posing with them on Instagram, I knew we were at the beginning of the end. I just didn't know how long it would take, I guess, for the general populace to start to catch on that it was the beginning of the end. You cannot be friends with people who have different opinions on you when those opinions are life and death for other people. When the Supreme Court ruling today has decided that certain people's lives are genuinely worth more on paper than others. This is a black and white issue. I'm sorry, but there is no nuance when it comes to Trump. You're either chill with the guy who has death camps in El Salvador or you're not. And the only reason I'm making this video is because I've been very open about how much I love Taylor Swift during the last few years. So I do feel obligated to come on here and say, she is MAGA. Or at least MAGA adjacent. And I'm sorry, as a trans person, if you're Nazi adjacent, that's still a Nazi to me. Do with that info whatever you will.
I've been a Swiftie since I was a teen, and I'm not excited for this new album. And it's not because I don't like her music, but it's because I don't like her anymore. And it sucks, but the truth is she's a billionaire who hangs out with Trump supporters, therefore who you hang out with is who you are. I'm just pissed because this is one artist that I have always loved down, cried at the Eras Tour, tears down my face, and now I just feel nothing. I don't even follow her on Instagram. And obviously I've seen that she's posting a new album and I go to her page and I'm like, cool. Good for fucking you. The rest of us are fighting for our fucking lives. It sucks. And it's like, really, I'm asking for the bare minimum. A reshare, something, because she has so much power. Anything would be a lot.
Taylor Swift and Brittany Broski are on the same list for me when it comes to feminist creators. And I used to deeply love both of these women, do not get me wrong. But with Brittany Broski specifically, she used to always say that anybody with a platform needs to be using it to speak up about social and political issues. And now she has a large platform. And at the time she wasn't talking about Palestine, so her followers like commented on it and brought it up and said, hey, like, why haven't you talked about Palestine yet? And her response was to get almost angry and to be like, well, why are you turning to celebrities for information on politics? Like, you should not be turning to me for information about war, but like, yeah, I'm pro-Palestine, but like, I don't know why you're asking me to comment on it. It's like, bitch, you're the one that said that anybody with a social media platform needs to be speaking up for social and political issues. And now that there's a war with Palestine happening, now you don't feel comfortable talking about it. She used to sing Hozier's praises, being like, oh my god, he's like such a progressive person. And now she doesn't even really talk about politics except when it benefits her. And Taylor Swift does the exact same thing, where sure, in that documentary, she commented about how she was endorsing Biden. But ever since she got into a relationship with Travis Kelce, she seems to be in her Republican era. Travis Kelce has basically sung Trump's praises, saying that he was honored to have Trump at his game, which is a wild thing to say when you know that Trump has spoken very blatantly hatefully about your girlfriend. The people that her and Travis are hanging around are all very vocal MAGA Republicans. She hasn't commented on the war with Palestine. She hasn't commented on the ICE raids. She hasn't commented on politics at all. And anything would be impactful from her. Any sort of sliver of a stance would be impactful coming from her, especially since she is part of the top 1%. And we all know that a lot of Trump's policies right now are benefiting the top 1%. Taylor Swift only really seems to talk about feminism and social issues when it benefits her. It almost feels as if she's silent and complicit in Trump's behavior because she knows that it's benefiting her. To me, Taylor Swift and Brittany Broski both seem like performative feminists. Which, like, if that's what you are, that's fine. I understand that not every content creator is going to be vocal about politics. Brittany Broski bothers me because she always said that anyone with a platform needs to speak up about political and social issues, and now she's not doing that. That's just hypocritical. Taylor Swift is seen as this like ultra mega feminist girl boss, when in actuality she's not addressing social issues that impact women. Taylor Swift holds a lot of societal power, and she's choosing not to use it. She's choosing to be silent. You cannot claim to be a feminist, to be an advocate for women's rights, and then turn around and not talk about women's rights within the US right now. I understand that she's not obligated to speak up about politics, but she really does seem to be hanging out with people who are MAGA, and for that reason, I'm not a fan of her.
Hey Taylor, I'm Jenny. I've been a fan forever. We're the same age, so I grew up with you. You like sing about my life growing up.
Taylor Swift commented on that video. After months of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people tagging Taylor Swift, making videos for Taylor Swift, begging Taylor Swift to say anything, comment anything about the current genocide going on in Gaza, she has said nothing. She did, however, comment on that video within 2 days of it being posted. No hate to that mother whatsoever. That video was amazing. However, Taylor Swift proved once again that she is a horrible person with one of the biggest influences in the world. And although she is a pillar for successful women, I don't think by any stretch she is an actual woman, and neither should you. And she's for damn sure not a feminist, because what kind of feminist sees what's happening to the Palestinian people and says absolutely nothing? Because since October 7th, there have been 5,300 Palestinian women killed. They are currently starving. They're having to grind up animal feed to try and make food. They're using period-delaying pills to try and avoid infection and disease, and they have seen a 300% rise in miscarriages since the bombings began. And if you want to try and argue that this is more of a political issue rather than a human rights one, you're wrong. But even if you weren't, Taylor Swift has had no problem involving herself in politics in the past. Remember when she made an Instagram story telling people to go register to vote, and 65,000 people registered to vote within 24 hours of it? And if you think her speaking up wouldn't have an impact on our elected officials, you're wrong. Because look how seriously they took her comments on AI the other day after people were begging them for months to take it seriously during the writer's strike. And just to be clear, that happening to her or anyone is horrible and should not happen 1,000% regardless of who the person is. So yeah, it should absolutely be fuck Taylor Swift for everyone. Her white feminism bullshit has bothered myself and people in the know for a while, but she's hit new lows by not even pretending to care about these issues this time and instead opting to stay silent. And she's proved once again that she's nothing more than one of these elites, corporations, or grifters that say whatever they need to make as much money as possible. That's what this is about. Money. It's in the same vein as the fake allyship bullshit that I talked about yesterday, except kind of worse because she doesn't actually care about any of the issues she talks about. And that goes for most celebrities, especially when it comes to this topic. I mean, we saw how many signed that Zionist letter and how many stand with Israel. So please, let's stop giving these shitty celebrities the massive influence they have. Or if not, let's start giving massive influence to the few that actually deserve it. Because Taylor Swift for sure does not.
Taylor girl, you about to be in trouble in a second. Because you're out here hanging with Republicans. And not just any kind of Republican. MAGA Republicans. Goodness. Why are you kicking with Chase Rice, Taylor? He's posting this kind of stuff on his social media. Huh? She was Biden Harris. She was queer rights with you need to calm down. You're being too loud. Now, since I know you're a billionaire, but it don't mean you got to go the billionaire way. You could be for the people, TAYTAY.
Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala. How do you feel about that?
Personally, I think she should keep her nose out of politics because she's a billionaire.
It would be wonderful if rich people stayed out of politics, wouldn't it?
100%.
I just think so many people idolize her, and I just think it's nobody's business who you're voting. You know what I mean? It's nobody's business who you're voting for.
I feel like sometimes it's like a paid thing. It's like to get numbers.
You think she's getting some of that Soros money?
I honestly believe it 100%. I think it's a great sign for Trump. He can Kamala can keep the cat ladies.
Save the cats, but not the cat ladies, right?
That's right.
You still like her music?
No, I'd like to see why she supports Kamala. Kamala, or whatever her name is.
Camel toe.
Woof.
I feel like we as a collective need to understand that Taylor Swift is not a normal person. Like, and I know she'd hate to hear that because if you listen to George Postpartment, she like really would hate that. But like, it is the truth. She is not like she's not able to do things the same way that like you and I are. Like, I want us to remember that the last time she spoke out about something politically, the president of the United States would not keep her name out of his mouth, and the richest man in the world threatened to smooshly assault her. Okay, like, I want us to really bring those things to the forefront of our minds. Like, even with things like her private jet usage, I just want us to take a little throwback trip to the last time that she was, like, flying commercially, and she was in Japan, and she delayed every single flight going from that airport for hours, and the airport personally asked her to never come back. Like, and I don't want it to be like, oh, like it's just, no, Beyonce is also not a normal person. I don't even think either of them are like normal celebrities. Like Kim Kardashian can go to the grocery store. Taylor Swift cannot go to the grocery store. If Taylor Swift were to post something politically, I think on a regular basis, people are already trying to kill her, harm her, sneak into her house, all sorts of things. That if she were to do something like that, it would fully exacerbate the situation. Like, I think this might be another thing about like empathy in a way, but also just like a general like misunderstanding. And not to be like, oh, like old Swifties would know, but like if you're like a new Swiftie and you've gone back and you've looked at like her old Tumblr posts, like I think we would know exactly where we would like she would align on so many of these things. And Taylor Swift has never been the type to like do things like, I don't want to say like for the public, but like publicly. Like if we go and check her bank accounts, I am like 99% sure that we will see donations to things and they'd all be anonymous. Like I'm sorry, like I just got really upset about it because I was seeing like so many posts on Twitter, and I just like, let's give a girl some grace by understanding she really, actually, truly is not like other girls.
No, I'm not coming after Taylor Swift because she's a woman. I'm coming after her because she pretends to be an advocate when clearly she doesn't give a shit about Palestinian people. And she's the biggest woman in music. You want me to talk about the biggest man in music for the sake of equality? Drake, the biggest man in music, signed a ceasefire letter urging Joe Biden for a ceasefire. So there you have it. That's why I'm not talking about the biggest man in music. Because he's Jewish and he supports Palestine. Yes, you heard me, Drake is Jewish, he had a bar mitzvah. And Drake's not even known for being like a huge social justice person, unlike Taylor Swift. Like if Taylor Swift just signed that letter too, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So don't pull out the woman card, the feminist card for Taylor Swift. She will always be a billionaire before she's a woman. If it were financially expedient for Taylor Swift to drop the feminist image tomorrow, she would do it. You don't get to become a billionaire by having principles or moral values. Fuck billionaires and free Palestine.
There's no denying it. I'm not a Swiftie. In general, I do not like her music. And unfortunately to me, there's nothing that she could do to contribute to society that would make me see value in her. I don't care how liberal she is. And it's not her fault. It's solely because her fan base remains to be one of the most racist, homophobic, transphobic, just overall hateful groups of people within the music industry. And that alone just makes it really hard for me to like look at her and go like, okay, like we love you. Like I don't like your music, but cool, great, glad you're here. The things that Swifties in the past and in the present have done, have acted out or reacted out against people who have something negative to say about Taylor Swift. Truly disgusting, some of the things people are saying and doing. And I'm not saying all Swifties are like this. I have a lot of friends that are great, amazing people that are Swifties. But the majority of Swifties have shown to be just awful people. And even I know, as a non-Taylor Swift fan, that if she met you guys, the ones that act like this, like she'd hate you. Like she would not like you in the slightest. It just gets to a point with this parasocial relationship thing that people have with celebrities. And I don't know if she's ever spoke out about this. She's usually one of those people that tries to distract negative press with positive, like, I don't know, something. Being like, hey, here's a happy song. I know you guys are talking shit about me, but listen to this, you know? So I don't know if she's ever spoken out about it, but if she hasn't, she should. And if she has, she needs to continue to do so because it's bad. And she has a new album coming out, so it's just going to get 10 times worse, like always. Like every time a new album comes out, it just, boom, explodes everywhere. So I don't know. I can't get into her just because her fans are just that bad.
I have a video getting a lot of traction right now from Swifties. I'm a former Swiftie. I still like her music. I still appreciate the past art, but I express that I'm annoyed with her. And the biggest flabbergast I've had with those comments is not the MAGA Swifties, is not the Swifties who don't have a stance and think that nothing's political. It is the Swifties who say that they're left. And I click on their page and they're out here fucking protesting ICE in the streets for pride, literal community activists DMing me and commenting on my stuff saying, well, what more do you want her to do? She made a post that she, was endorsing Harris. Like, we just need to be softer and nicer to her. A sign of critical thinking is to be able to zoom out and see things objectively. So just because you have this gut reaction of, well, Taylor Swift isn't doing anything wrong, can you take yourself out of the situation, out of being a Swiftie, and objectively see why someone would criticize a billionaire in this fascist climate? A sign of a healthy relationship and community environment, and to not have climates such as fascism, is to be able to challenge people in power and challenge authority. I think a lot of y'all would benefit from some critical analysis, because the video I created literally just said, I don't really like her anymore. It's put me off that she hasn't stood up or stood for anything in a long time, or doesn't do it consistently. And y'all are coming up with these theories of why she's not. Mine is a personal opinion and reflection from what I have seen and witnessed. Y'all are putting yourself in her shoes and making these theories happen as if you know her. It's giving parasocial, it's giving lack of objectivity. I'm not here to be the morality police and say you shouldn't listen to her, you shouldn't do this or that. Do what feels comfortable for you. The fact y'all aren't able to see why someone would want to critique a person with that much power, with that much money and resources. She has so much fucking power. And also, two things can be true. She can have experienced sexism and still be the oppressor. Okay?
Swifties are fucking insane, dog. I made that video a couple weeks ago and it's still blowing up on Swifty Talk. Now, I understand that I may have hurt your feelings by talking about how Taylor Swift is a goddamn climate terrorist, how she's a sociopathic billionaire who uses feminism in order to deflect criticisms from her, but never extend it to other women, especially non-white women. The perpetual victimhood complex, narcissism, don't forget announcing a whole album at an award ceremony for a whole bunch of different artists. But what I think that gets under you all's skin the most, which wasn't even really a criticism that I had of her, but she's pretty mediocre. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I have her musical talents or ever will possess them, but compared to her contemporaries, her peers, she's not impressive, dog. She's just not really that impressive. I'm not gonna hold you. I've heard better. Heard worse, but I've heard far better. She's kind of mediocre.
No, because I'm actually amazed at the compartmentalization skills of straight people. How dare you hang out with your friends in the LGBTQ, have a nice holly jolly time, and then turn around and lay in bed with someone who's MAGA. Oh, but they're actually like a really nice person. We just don't agree on certain things. If the very idea of the person you're sleeping with voting for Donald Trump, voting for someone who is a misogynistic, racist felon doesn't make you want to throw up, then you're MAGA too. If the person that you are sleeping with does not care or is excited that LGBTQ rights are currently being stripped away. And it's crazy because some of you are forgetting that your rights vary from state to state as a woman. So you're fine with sleeping with someone who doesn't care if you die during your pregnancy because you weren't able to get the health care that you needed.
Swifties love to say that Taylor Swift just works really hard. So hard, in fact, that she has a scar on her hand to prove it. Because during the Eras tour, she accidentally fell backstage in the dark. And that during that tour, she just worked incredibly hard, like an athlete. But you know who made the Eras tour even possible? The hundreds of people that were helping her. Because the truth is, without the studio musicians playing the music, Taylor Swift would not be able to perform at all. It is, in fact, those musicians that get all of the credit for her stage performances, her tours, and her recording. And as far as Taylor Swift being a fake Christian and nice evil, even others see it. Never liked her. She is a servant of the most unholy. Yuck. Taylor Swift sucks. Swifties don't want you to body shame Taylor, but they go on to body shame others. Do you blame Taylor for having a micro penis too, or question mark? But is it Taylor Swift, or is it everybody else in the world is just wrong and she's so great? She doesn't even speak politically, and yet people like this are saying, but I have such a hard time listening to her and appreciating her as an artist for all of the baggage that she comes with politically. Everybody knows that Taylor Swift about 6 years ago was really taking advantage of her liberal fan base. And yes, a lot of liberals make up the majority of her fan base. But Taylor Swift was raised by two very extreme right-winged Republicans. She surrounds herself with MAGA red pill types and has even said when going against the Republican Party that these aren't your generation's Republicans when speaking to her father. She says verbatim, quote, "I have to be on the right side of history," unquote. Meaning that Taylor Swift holds Republican and conservative traditional values. But at that point, she was choosing to align with a more liberal stance, referring to Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. But Taylor Swift is just a recording artist. She doesn't talk about politics for one specific reason, because when she does, it's going to automatically divide half of her fan base that do not align with her politically. Of course, Taylor Swift wants to come across as a liberal, because she knows who her demographic and fans are. That is precisely why she spends upwards of allegedly $15 million a year in a PR campaign and machine for herself. Imagine that, $15 million every 365 days. Just to convince the world in mainstream media, on social media, on websites, that you're this sweet, innocent, naive, all-American girl next door who just worked really hard to get where she's at. That she deserves every hard-earned penny because she's just a victim of the patriarchy. The same patriarchy that, if it existed, wouldn't allow her to be where she's at. The same patriarchy of which her father was able to make and curate her entire career for her. She just got some creative control over the semantics. The same patriarchy of which she works with multiple male producers, arguably the best producers on planet Earth, to ensure that her hits land well, that her albums are successful, because she's not only making billions off of her music, other people are too, because they help her along the entire way. She's just the face, the image, and the name that is slapped on all of that work. But is Taylor Swift a devout Christian? Is she devout to God? Open your eyes, people, and you'll see. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Please like and share. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button. And I will see you all at showtime.